The whole idea of Smoothie Fridays started in 2015 thereabouts, when I would gather some of my friends, some of my associate friends, associate photographers into my crib, and we would work together, talk about photography, edit pictures together, and then we find it very interesting to also get a cup of smoothie while we work. So we just blend some smoothie and we work together. So that was the whole idea of this. So after marriage, I thought it would be nice to start something around that, and I called it Smoothie Friday, where photographers can just come together. And the whole idea is for us to is for creatives to come together to interact, rub minds on various aspects of the craft, and talk about business generally and industry trends. And we've done a couple of that in the past. We've done one majorly where we talked about copyright issues, and it was really, really interesting. There was a lot of reports, like there were a lot of eye-opening stories, a lot of people shared, So the whole idea is for people to come together. Basically, the old folks and the young folks to resolve issues and create a route, going forward. Basically, so that's what Smoothie Friday is all about. There was also this very particular one that we did where we brought in a doctor who spoke to us about our craft. How photographers on the long run, because of the nature of our job, we have backaches, wrist dislocation, and a lot of bodily injuries, and we don't know, because oftentimes when we work we carry heavy equipment, and we carry that for a long time, and it affects our body over time. So we brought in a doctor who explored how we can work in a safer environment and be better for ourselves. And so that was really interesting. And then afterwards, we did it at the Orbit Center, and afterwards we did some play on the trampoline at the Orbit Center, and it was really fun. We played some games, we did some climbing, and then it was really fun and very, very energetic. And there was also a particular one that we did where it was called Pechakucha Night, where we have 10 speakers who were going to talk about their images, and they had I think 20 seconds for 20 images. So per image, people talk about their images. The photographers talked about their images for 20 seconds, and we had 20 images, and in total we had about 10 photographers. And Emmanuel Ileke was sent in some of his videos. He couldn't come, but he sent in his video. Mufebami was there. That was just about when she did this photo of this little girl who became the most beautiful girl in the world. We had I'm trying to recall. So we had Tone and Lumi Morgan. They shared their work. Tone's work is amazing. She's one of my favorite photographers, and she just took pictures of her baby. We had Sa Inyeni. Inyeni is one of my young photographers. He was in a workshop that I shared in, and afterwards he has been a very good colleague of mine. We also had Damola Onofua. Damola Onofua was amazing. He was really amazing. He shared some of his albino works, and a lot of us learned a lot from that. So the journey of Smoothie Friday has been sweet. Has been really, really sweet. Has been really, really sweet. And now is the time to actually do more of that. Because last year we were just so busy, putting structure into our business, and we couldn't do anyone. But now we have the whole time in our hands to play with. Yeah, Babs, you were there, I know. Okay, guys, so that's a brief story of what Smoothie Friday is about. And we hope to do this often. I mean, it's the era of digital space, and we hope to explore as much as we can. And we hope you guys will always be there, with us. So let's dive into the story of the day. What do I have for you guys today? So we will be exploring the future of photography, and Tola Onayemi is a fantastic friend. Is like, when you have an encyclopedia moving around, he has a lot of information, and he's at the forefront of this COVID-19, and he has an in-depth knowledge of how nations are rising, how businesses are thriving, and he would be exploring that with us. So we'll be exploring the future of photography. So I will talk briefly, and then I will bring him online. I'm sure he's waiting for me to just connect him. I'm sure a lot of you guys are waiting to connect with him. So guys, please just write down your messages, your questions, and we will be taking them. I mean, this is solely based on questions, so we need a lot of questions, so that we can bombard him and pick his mind. So we're 10 minutes gone into personally, I want to talk to you guys about photography. The future of photography. What is the future of photography? COVID-19 came all of a sudden, and a lot of us were not aware of it. We don't know how to even manipulate it. April was supposed to be my biggest month for events, in the history of shooting weddings, but all of a sudden, all that just went into postponement and some cancellation. How do we maneuver this? I hope we all have our smoothie beside us. I have my own Zobo here, so I hope you have your smoothie there. So COVID-19 came all of a sudden, and it threw everybody into that space of, okay, do I have enough money to even cope this season? How long is it going to last? What am I going to do? What's the way forward? How am I going to maneuver this? No one has ever experienced it before. I've been doing a lot of research about this, and I discovered I think the last major pandemic was in 1918, where over 50 million people went into it. That's not to scare us, but I think we'll be done with this very soon. If people stay at home as they've asked us to do, there will be a solution very soon, very, very soon. So it's speculated that in the next 2-3 months, everybody should be back, and we can all manage the situation together. But again, a lot of you will agree with me that this whole pandemic thing has really cost the world a lot, and it will bring in a lot of what's it called? A lot of paradigm. No, don't let me say a lot of paradigm. It will bring in a paradigm shift in the way people do business these days. A lot of us will now be very comfortable doing business online. A lot of companies would rather want to do stuff online than doing an event. And basically, as photographers, we work. People find us where there's a lot of people. My business basically as a photographer is when more people come together to do something, and then I'm always there. But then for us to stop this pandemic, people need to stay in their house. No events, no people must come together to do stuff. That means a lot of people are beginning to do stuff in their own house. That means as a photographer, there's no job for me. In the long run, if you look at the future of this whole pandemic, I'm not sure if nothing is going to come, if something is going to come back together to the way it used to be before. it will take a long time for the event industry to get to that point, because a lot of people will now be very paranoid about it, fear of, okay, I don't know where this person has traveled to, I don't know how, who this person has seen, I don't know if they have this virus in them, mostly because it doesn't show, immediately. So and that puts us, put photographers in a lot of pressure. And I'm an advocate of we are all photographers, quite all right, I know, but I strongly believe you should find value in anything. What we do as photographers is creating value, and if we have to shift our mindset now to at least keep, because the biggest place you can be is when you know that the future of yourself, the future for you is good. You have 1 or 2 naira to make per day, and then you know that tomorrow you are going to eat. We have God. I'm not. That's not where I'm going to. But there's this comfort that comes that, okay, I can work and I can make money, I can eat, I can feed myself, and that's what this whole live video is all about today. So I will try and connect Adetola now, and he's going to explore some of the ideas he has with us, and he would experience some of his knowledge here with this live video. So yes, there's something I've been thinking about. How many of us have ever thought of going digital, virtual event? Do you ever think there will be something called virtual events? Because a lot of people are used to live now. If you want to do anything, it's either Zoom, WhatsApp, email. Those things are really, really effective now. And when people have done that for 3, 4, 5 months, they are already used to it. It's difficult for people to come back. But again, let's try and explore what is called virtual event. Do you ever think there can be something called virtual event? Is there a point in time where everybody will be doing virtual events, like a couple comes together and the marriage vows and all that is online, and then where's the photographer? What would the photographer be doing? He will be there capturing screenshots of the event, or what's the place of the photographer? How can we come into this? So there are a lot of speculations now online. Nobody knows the answer, but again, this much more than ever before now, the world of virtualness, like doing everything online, is becoming very real. It's becoming very, very real, and this is the first phase of it. And we hope that a lot of us from now on we start thinking in that line and start trying to explore how it can work. There was this favorite photographer that was teaching people how to pose. He would call them, and then there would be a video call. He would teach them how to pose, then they would take a picture, and then he would edit it professionally. Even that, Snapchat is already doing that. You can color grade your picture, edit your picture in a very fantastic way, much more than you can even do if you are taking it with a professional camera. So the world is changing. We should also look into the world of the light is gone, but it's going to come back very soon. We should also look into the world of a mirrorless camera. Mirrorless camera is changing the world, just like it happened in the late 90s, where people moved from using film cameras to digital camera. A lot of people did not join that trend because they felt, oh, this is what I use and it's really good, this and that. There's this proudness and boldness that people have then, that, oh yes, there's the way the picture comes in film that digital would never be like that. So the whole trend is changing now, and how are we getting on that line? How are we getting on that trend? I know there's a lot of problems, but let's look at the positive. Let's be very positive and look at the positive side of it. So I'm going to connect Adetola now, and he's going to share some of what he has with us. Okay, so I've never done this before, and I will just find him So I can see it here, but it's saying that there are two people that wants to connect. Okay. I think I found Tola to come up. So Tola is a fantastic guy.
Hey,
Hello,
Jide,
Tola.
how are you doing, Jide?
Tola, what's up? How are you?
I'm good. How have you been? It's been a while.
Yeah, it's good to have you here.
Same here.
So me and Tola, we've been together like for a long time. We went to Unilag together, and it's amazing how Tola is now a big boy. Like,
are you
this
kidding?
guy
Coming from you.
is. I'm just so amazed about what he is right now. I mean, he read law in school, and now he's doing well. He's doing well, and he's on the front line of helping Nigeria, and he has with other countries to see how we can get COVID-19 to the barest minimum, and what we can do financially, GDP wise, what is happening. So I will just leave Tola to speak to us. Tola, I have some questions for you here.
Okay.
Yeah, I have some questions for you here, but I would after you talk, and I would call those questions and you can answer them.
All right. Sure.
Yeah.
All right. So I'll just start. I think the first thing to say is to say thank you for having me on your
Thank you so much.
live.
Thank you so much.
Myself and Jide have known ourselves for way over since 2007. So it's been, wow. Before you became celebrity photographer. And most people don't know this, that when Jide was going to think of converting from Jide Odukoya to Jide Odukoya Production Studios, I was one of the first persons that had a conversation in your house. Back in the day, yeah. In your room, yeah. All right.
I know, right?
Yeah. So let's jump into this. So basically, we're having a conversation around, and for those who are joining, we're having a conversation around the future of photography, the future of work, the future of business, finance, the times today. So I'll try and give some context. And the reason I'm giving some context is because it's always helpful to understand where things are in making this kind of decision. So first things first is that the global economy is very interesting in the sense that over the years, countries have become very dependent on one another, right? Countries depend a lot on each other. And so what that means is that while you're doing photography in Bariga or Victoria Island or Abuja, the truth is that a lot of the things you need depends on a range of people from all over the world. So you probably got your camera when your friend was coming back from the US or the UK. So your camera was probably assembled in China, and all that. You're using a software that's probably the back of for editing, where the coders who design the software for your editing are probably based in Poland. So a lot of that. And then even to do a wedding in the first place, the event organizer gets things from all over the world. So the truth is, what seems like a simple transaction that we take for granted relies on a lot of actions happening all over the world, right? And the beauty of international trade, which is why I do a lot of work on this, the beauty of international trade is that when international trade works seamlessly, you don't even notice all the people you have to rely on. You just know that you picked your laptop, it worked, Steve Jobs worked, or whatever your laptop you're using. You just know everything works seamlessly. But when things like what's happened over the last few weeks happen, we're reminded very quickly of how connected the entire world is, right? So what's happened is that a lot of countries depend on oil for their wealth. A lot of countries do, right? And even beyond the oil, a lot of things you also use, plastics and the rest, come from oil-based production. But even beyond that, is that even a lot of the things you depend on, your cars, depend on oil, right? And manufacturing, productions, factories depend on oil, right? And so what's happened is that first there was COVID-19, which basically meant this virus started in China. Now, China is probably number one or two largest oil producer in the consumer in the world. I think number two largest oil consumer in the world, right? And so suddenly COVID happens, and then it spreads over the world by flights, people traveling, people moving around. And then what happens is that suddenly countries have to go into lockdown. A country like India, which is 1.3 billion people, goes into lockdown overnight, right? So what that means first is that demand for goods and services shut down. So if you're a photographer, normally you had your entire month booked. I remember then someone would say, "Oh, I have my year booked." All your bookings got cancelled because people have to then shut down parties, right? Shut down weddings, shut down everything. So that means demand for manufacturing shuts down. But beyond even demand for manufacturing, is that also demand for your own services shut down. Then factories that would normally make things, so a lot of you buy things on Alibaba, packaging, all that shuts down, right? Because China had to go into shutdown. Now, what that also meant was that at that same time, China, Saudi Arabia, and Russia went into what they call an oil war. So what basically happened was Saudi Arabia has the largest deposit of oil in the world, but Saudi Arabia felt like, listen, we should be getting bigger share of this market. And Russia felt the same thing. So they started cutting prices, and then everyone, and normally what happens is that to get a certain oil price, everybody has to manage how they produce oil. In fact, interestingly, a meeting is going on right now that will determine whether or not there will be oil cuts, meaning they will produce less. And the way is demand and supply. If, let's think of it this way, if I sell rice, and all of us sell rice, and we all sell rice for 20 naira, right? And suddenly everybody stops eating rice. Maybe only 10 people are eating rice, and we all still selling rice. The truth is, and we start cutting our prices down. At some point, we all start dashing out the rice, because we just want to get our rice out. So, and that's what basically happened with oil, right? And so, the only way to stabilize prices is for everybody to say, okay, you know what? Let's all cut down instead of making 2 derica of rice. Let's start making 1 derica. By the way, I know all these things now. I've had to cook. We're on lockdown. So, right? So the point is, so what that starts to happen is that you now say things like, oh, maybe we should all cut down our rice production so that, and that's exactly what's happening with oil. And so yesterday, a major meeting happened where all the countries agreed to cut down their oil production, but Mexico is blocking that deal. So today's the G20 meeting going on right now, and it's the height of geopolitics. There's a G20 meeting going on right now that will determine whether or not there will be successful oil cuts. So while we're having this meeting, somewhere in the world, on video conference calls, all the top oil traders are negotiating, and top oil ministers are negotiating what the future of prices will look like for the next 5-6 months. And that's how connected the world has become. Now, let's get into one more interesting things, because I said all that to give you a context of what's happening around the world and why suddenly they told you to stay at home, why suddenly you've gotten all your gigs cancelled. Now, so what that tells you to a great extent is that even though you're a photographer that is very talented, what happens is that a lot of your life and business and finance, why you get flown out to Dubai to go and cover a wedding, all that depends a lot on the relationship, the connectivity of the international trade of the world. Exactly. Now, so what that means is this. It means that, one, it also means that if the world moves ahead in any direction, it's going to affect you. And the beautiful thing when we say the future of photography, the future of work, is that a number of times we don't even realize when the future starts. One of my favorite quotes is Peter Drucker. He says, "The future is being made by those that, the future is predicted by those that create it." A lot of times we don't even realize when the future is being crafted. And you said something before I got on the live. You said maybe there's going to be visual events. Well, the truth is those things have started. If you check it, in the last few weeks, what's happened a number of times is that they've been doing online battles on Instagram Live, this kind of thing. So 2 DJs will come and do a battle. I know some days ago, Swissbeat was trying to put a classic event between Teddy and Babyface and Teddy to do like a music off. And the truth is, that's the future. The future is that one day people are going to say things like, there's this composer that is a fantastic composer. He's doing this last crusade and last concert in Vienna. Nobody needs to come. Just pay for your seats on your live, and you stream in. And that's the future. And the truth is, as internet connectivity gets better, as things like visual reality get better, augmented reality gets better, what's going to happen is that people will find that people will travel only not because they just want to have experiences, because they can now have those experiences by not traveling. They can sit in their room. I can sit. For instance, I did recently. I went for a show, and there was an augmented reality of the building they were building, and I could basically almost feel and touch it. They put a glass on my head. I had a button on my hand, and I was moving. I could almost feel it, and I was in the same room. Exactly. So the truth is, that's going to happen. So and when that starts to happen, what's going to happen is that people will say, you know what, let's do a visual concert. Stay in your house, everybody will log in forever. And this is already clocking numbers. For instance, people are already clocking 300,000 views on Instagram Live. Wow. So the truth of the matter is, if I can, what's the size of a concert? If I can get 300,000 people on my Instagram Live, why? Now is that there's remote controls. There's remote controlling of cameras. So there are cases where I can be far away from the camera. I can connect my camera to the internet, and I can remotely control my camera's angles. In fact, they use it for weapons, for sniping. Now, like when the US is controlling drone attacks, they just send a drone on attack, and it uses the same exact photography things. It uses TEMA. A drone leaves from France or from New York, goes all the way to Islamabad. By using temperature, it can tell you how many people are in the room. It can read number of people in the room, and they can control it and say, release bombs, don't release a bomb. So the truth is, they can do that. Then it tells you that I can do visual photography. I can stay wherever I want to be, and then take pictures, and capture the entire event. So I'm in Lagos, someone sets up my camera, and that now tells you that the nature of photography will change. Photography will change. Because what happens is now you're saying, I need a sharpshooter. Where's my sharpshooter? What's going to happen is that you don't need a sharpshooter. You probably need someone that can set up your camera and finish. Because what happens is someone sets up your camera in different angles. You stay where you are, and you have all the screens on your laptop, and you're taking different kind of pictures, and it's coming to you. Another thing you should know is, and I'm just telling you a number of interesting things that you know, is that, and you should know this already, and it's already happening, is that now there are cameras that have real life connectivity. There are cameras now where you don't have to remove the SIM card and say, where's the SIM? How many SIM? Give me the SD card. Now the cameras that are connected live, and as they're taking pictures, they're updating the pictures to the cloud. Right. So the truth of the matter is that the future of photography is extreme. And so that's what that tells me is this. And let me add one more context. Because technology is also very democratized now. So as you as a photographer, there was a time when technology was very niche. So what that meant was that if you're a photographer, you use the photography, you enjoy it alone, you are flexing, you're the one that has a DSLR. But the truth is, right now, some cameras take pictures that are just as good. Some phone cameras take pictures that are just as good as DSLRs, right? And so what that means is that in the future, the best camera is the camera you have in your hand. So it won't matter what camera you have. What matters is what you can do with that camera. And I think that's one thing I like to say. Like, people make it seem like in the future, photographers will not be needed. My argument is simple. My argument is that in the future, what's going to happen is that it's not going to be as much an issue of the equipment. So today, you can get away with saying that I have the equipment. But in the future, it won't be about the equipment. It will be about the creativity, the storytelling, the angles. That's what will become the issue. So it's going to stop becoming. It's going to stop. So because now today, someone can say I'm using a DSLR. You're using a China phone. My pictures are better. But in the future, when a cheap, say $50 phone, $100 phone can take pictures just as good as your DSLR, that changes, right?
That changes,
so now becomes an issue of what's the storytelling, and that's why I say, and I say this very well. I say that photojournalism will rise a lot in the future. It will be a bigger trend because already we're going to already see what we see a lot of citizen photography, citizen journalism, where citizens just sit down where they are, take videos. For instance, some of the breaking news you see today were not taken by photographers,
Exactly, they were taken by mobile phones, by random people.
They were taken by people in their houses and taken in anywhere in the world they are. So truth is, in the future, what's going to happen is that people are going to depend a lot on photographers for a number of things, for their storytelling, for their creativity, for their ability to tell a story with a picture, for the emotions that they will evoke with their images, and that will be the future. And I say that humans will always be important in the future, but it's just that what they're important for will not be the same thing as today.
Exactly.
Right. Exactly. So it won't just be I am present, because now it's enough to be present. It will be an issue. And don't forget, even things that change. For instance, and you can already see it in some apps today, especially with things like artificial intelligence. I know there's a technology I know when I was in the US last, and I'd gone on a tour of one future lab. There's a technology we're working on that basically for photography would allow you, as you're taking your pictures, it would look at it, so it would work with you on one of your photography plans where you edit and you cut and you select pictures, and it will learn your trends. And so what happens is that whenever you take pictures, it automatically selects the pictures it thinks you would like and crops them for you automatically. That is the work of an editor already gone. Already gone, because they tell you, or even things like Internet of Things where I can identify images. So it means I can look at my pictures and just say Eiffel Tower, and it will pick out Eiffel Tower and edit it. So the point of the matter is that the future will be very different. But the truth is, the future will happen gradual and sudden. And what I mean is, one day you just wake up and it will be the future. I make a joke that
it is now, actually.
Exactly, because if you look back now and you go back to some 50 years, people don't realize that. I tell the joke, I tell people that people don't realize that 20 years ago, what am I saying 20 years ago? 15 years ago, we didn't have mobile telephone the way we have today in Nigeria. Just 15 years ago. Just 15 years ago. Like 20 years ago, we didn't have, 20 years ago, if you didn't have a Nitel line in Nigeria, You couldn't get calls.
Wow.
Just 20 years ago.
Just 20
And
years
now,
ago.
yeah, just 20 years ago. And now, everybody, you lose your phone.
Almost everyone has
I
a
lose my phone.
mobile
You go and
phone.
buy that phone immediately. But 20 years ago, if you
Exactly.
lost your phone, you have to write a letter. If they cut your line, NITEL line, you have to write a letter. And the Director General of NITEL have to sign up. And so that what happens that the video changes quickly and changes fast. And so machine learning is something that will change it. And so what that means tells me is simple, is that one of the important things about photography that will matter for the future is someone who is willing to always keep learning. Right? And let me also say this, that so what that means is that the person who is trying to understand more, trying to get more skills, because the truth is, Jide, you're an example of this. People don't know that, and I don't think a lot of people know this, that Jide started off with editing. Jide is one of the best graphics people that I knew when I knew Jide at the beginning of his career. And then the truth is, you've evolved from that into photography and then learned all the ropes. And that's what the future will be. The future will be people who are willing to be mobile, to be agile, to learn technology, to deploy technology. So for instance, things as simple as, what are these medias that exist? Social media, Instagram, Twitter. How do I deploy technology? For instance, TikTok happens now. TikTok is changing how we do video editing and videography. People are making videos that normally you would have to send to your friend.
Exactly.
They're changing it because now it's ready-made. Canvas is changing how editing happens, and that's what those kind of apps for photography.
Yeah. Canva is even facing out Photoshop. Like you can do everything on Canva.
Do you get my point? So the matter is, so what that means to a good extent is that the future will be people who are willing to learn, one, people who are fast and agile. Time will become the issue. Because for instance, think of it now, if I can take a picture on my phone that rivals picture on your camera, but you need 1 week to get me my picture, and then I already took it on the phone and it's already ready. By the time you release your own blockbuster pictures, time has gone.
Time has gone. It has lost relevance.
So in the future, so the truth is, there's some important things that will remain. One of the things that will remain regardless is time. Agility will become the currency of the future. 2 is that readiness to learn will become a currency of the future. Then 3 is that the best camera will be the camera in your hand. So what will matter the most is who is breaking that picture. So, and that's already happening now. It won't be an issue now of who took the picture. It will be an issue of who released the picture first. It will be that picture who released it first. In fact, I made a joke to someone once. I said, in the future they'll probably just tell you edited automatically by AI. Edited automatically by AI.
Exactly.
So currency, agility will be the currency of the future in photography. The best camera in your hand. The camera in your hand will become the best camera.
Wow.
Then 2 is the person who's learning, who's willing to learn, who's learning fast, who's applying themselves fast, who's being creative will become the person. But the truth also is that in the future of photography, the business of photography will become a big deal. And I say that in every industry we've seen empires, and I think it goes in cycles. In manufacturing, we've seen empires. The truth is, now is the empires of the creative. And so what happens now is that we're already seeing empires in the entertainment industry. We've not seen empires in the photography industry, and I think that's going to happen soon. But for that to happen, people are going to have to crack the business of photography, right? And that's one thing that concerns me a lot. I find that a lot of photographers still don't take photography as a business, as what it is, the money of photography. So question now becomes, so for instance, and don't forget, just look at the evolution. There was a time when you had to go to a studio to take pictures. You had to dress up. Your parents would dress up and go to a studio to take pictures. Then it became wait and get, meaning the photographer will come and meet you in your house, meet you in your event. Then it became top photographers who would have sharpshooters, DSLR. They are now everybody's a photographer. Everybody has a camera. The truth is, all that is changing what the currency of photography looks like. So the truth is, the future photographers are people that will be able to crack where is the money in the models, the future models of photography. Where is the money? So for instance, how do I come up with a component? And I can give you an example. How do I come up with a component that allows people to take pictures freely and fast, but I'm monetizing it from our advertising? So meaning, and that's exactly what I'm realizing, that in the end, Instagram is almost a photo company. That's what Instagram does. Wow. Because what Instagram does is it allows you all freely populate your pictures on their platform, but then they use advertising to make their money back. And that's what the truth is. Instagram has its own limitations. How do I find and Instagram limitation is people have different levels of photography skills. But the question is, how does someone come up with a Canva, an enabled photography tool for everybody that is free, but at the same time allows people
making money.
Making money off it. So the truth is the business of photography, or how do I and routers already do something of that sort with breaking pictures quickly. But truth is, router can't do it fast enough. How do I come up with a conglomerate of independent photographers that are all over the world taking fantastic pictures, and then I'm negotiating on their behalf for pictures? You know, how do I come up with, how do I find a way to crop off, to harvest citizen photography, where people are taking photographs all over the world and harvesting the best ones, striking deals with them immediately? Because what happens a number of times, that's what people like CNN do now. Where what happens is that CNN says there's a virus going on in China, they can't get it to China. They start sourcing online. They start going to all kinds of, using all kinds of algorithms. And they pick who takes the best pictures. This person, they reach out to the person. Hey, can I use you to take pictures, and then use your pictures to do this. So truth of the matter, like I said, is what that means is that the future of photographer is going to be very, very dynamic. Wow. And the finance of photography will matter. The agility will matter. Learning will matter. Being aware of the time will matter. Wow. The new technologies will come that will append how we look at photography. But what will matter the most is the person who is willing to learn, willing to try out new things, one thing you should never say, and I hope everyone in this generation should have learned that, to never say is, oh, that can never happen. That's the most stupid thing you can ever say. Because anything can happen. The truth is, we're not even talking about financing. We're talking about, for instance, now tech raises a lot of capital. We're not even talking about the fact that what kind of financing deals would happen for photography in the future. Those are interesting things. I'm going to come up with structures where I'm buying bulk cameras for citizen photographers to take better quality pictures, and then I'm taking their images that they create as a result. There's going to be interesting structures that are going to come up. People are going to come up with interesting things, try out new things. Even in law, there's a law firm right now that is an entirely digital law firm. So truth is, a lot of interesting things are going to come up in the entire world. But what will matter the most is a readiness to learn, a readiness to try out new things, ability not to say never, but more importantly, agility. First mover advantage will matter. Who got in there first will matter.
Exactly. Who got in there first will matter a lot. Yeah. Wow, Tola, this is like, I'm blown away. Honestly, I'm blown away. Like, I need to go and recalibrate, and I need to discard what is in my head now to put in new things there. Thank you so much. So I have this question for you. Let me just so it's around finance, and I will just quickly ask it, and then you can advise. Okay, so how can I leverage technology as regards my finances? Can I invest in crowdfunding? We have a lot of those crowdfunding platforms now. Is it advisable to invest in anything now? Is it anything whatsoever? Is it advisable to invest in them now, knowing everything is still very unstable now? What can I do with my finance?
All right. So that's a very interesting question, right? And I think the first thing to say with finance is you need to decide very quickly your own risk appetite, right? What kind of investor are you? And I tell this every time to people. I say the first thing investment is 3 things, or maybe 4 things. First question you want to ask yourself is, how much do I have that is disposable? Now, I always say this: if you're not a professional investor, invest only with disposable income. That's the first thing. So and what that means is, listen, if this money anytime I lose the money, I will not die. Right? So that's the first thing. So for instance, don't go and use your child's Cerelac money to go and do investments. Because for instance, and I'll tell you, because for instance,
that would be dangerous.
I made a major investment, and the investment is profitable, but the truth is I can't get my money out now because a lot of shares have dipped. And so if I get my money out now, I lose a lot. So I have to ride it out. So truth is, and that happens to everybody right now. So truth is, first thing first you want to do is you don't want to. So that's the first question you want to ask. The second question you want to ask
is, don't play with your important money.
Don't know. So one is how much disposable or how much investment. And I'll answer that in a minute of how to come up with disposable money. My advice always with disposable money is have a plan for how to create the money you want to invest. Have a plan. But that's one. The second thing you want to say for investment is, how much skill do I have in investment? How much skill? So, do I have any investment skill? Do I know nothing about investment? Am I just a sharpshooter? That's my skill. What's my skill set? The third thing you want to check is, what's my risk appetite? Meaning, Am I a adventurous? I'm willing to risk it all. And you can know it from your life, even with the girl you toasted or the person you didn't toast. You can know whether you're risk averse or you're not risk averse. If you're the one that did not toast the fine girl because you know to get bass, you're a risk averse. If you're the guy who doesn't fall, so truth is, how risk averse are you, or how not risk averse are you? And the last question you want to ask yourself is, what is the intention of your investment? What's intention? And when I say intentional investment, what I mean by that is simple. Is the reason you're investing for the sake of growing future wealth? Is it for retirement? Is it for your children's school fees in the future? Is it just because you want to flex? Is it because you want to travel? You want to decide that, because those 4 things are what determines what you do. Now, let me start with the first question of, how do you disposable income? I always say, always plan to invest. So what that means is, take your money, and on my Instagram, I think I have a video that I did back in the day about how to break your income. But I have what they call the 30-20-20-20 rule. But I'm not even going to go into details of it. The 40-20-20-20 rule. But basically, my idea is 40% of your income should be on living expense. So the idea is that, listen, I will not die. I'm making money. I have to chop. Either it's like that's already alive, right? They make more money. So 40% is going to go into, listen, sustenance. I'm being careful. I'm living and this, 20% is emergency fund. Meaning, listen, this is it does its boss if Wala starts. That's 20%. The next 20% is my investment money. This one I'm planning to invest with it. Right. The last one is what I call a safety buffer. So the safety buffer is, so it's 40-20-20-20. Safety buffer is, listen, in case anything happens that those two cannot cover, I'll use it. Now, but by the way, let me say this is not a strict rule. It depends on your financial state. For instance, I have a low maintenance. I'm very low maintenance. I'm not married. I don't have kids. So I'm low maintenance. You might adjust that and say, you know what, for me, I have a big family. So 40% will not keep me. I need 60%. Because my first rule with investment is, if you do something where you invest money that, what's the word? If you invest money that you, more than what you have. So basically, if you invest all your money and you don't have any savings, you don't have any money for sustaining yourself, you're going to suffer. And the suffering will make you break your investment, and then you
won't be disciplined.
So exactly. So I always advise something that works for you, that is reasonable. So what I say generally is, come with a plan of what is reasonable that makes sense to you. And so what that means, for instance, is you can say, so you might say your own is 60-20-20, whatever it is. Now, the rule is, for that 40, it's for flexing, it's for eating, it's for living, you will not die. 20, the emergency fund, you should always invest in an emergency fund in short-term investment that you can liquidate fast, because it's emergency. If you put it in a place you can't touch, if you can't put it in stock market and you can't touch the stock market, you are in trouble if emergency comes. So you put it in that. Now, my rule is that if at the end of the month, if no emergency happens, you can roll that money into your long-term investment, right? The next 20 is your investment money. That one you can put in a long-term investment. And by the way, remember what I said, the intent. Is it for my children's school fees? Is it for my house I want to buy? Is it for a car? Whatever it is. Then the last one is a buffer. The buffer, now generally my idea is that the buffer is the first place you go to if you outshoot your living expenses. So that one should generally be in your savings account. And let me say this also. In Nigeria, people use their savings account as their main account. Normally, your current account should be your main account, right? Your savings account, because people don't know this, but you earn a tiny dividend on your money in your savings account if you don't make up to 2 withdrawals in a month. All right, so that's just by the way. Anyway, so basically, so do all that. Now, after you've done all that, so now if you're doing that periodically, what happens is that the money might be small, but you're growing up the money to become something you can invest. So you can start with what you can invest. You can start with, okay, maybe get a stockbroker. If you think you're not a professional, get a stockbroker to manage your affairs. Get someone who's a broker, right? Or you say things like, beyond even a broker, I want to check apps. Now there are a lot of apps that do fantastic things. There's an app, there's Bamboo, there's RiceVest, there's Chaka. There are a lot of those kind of apps that allows you to buy stocks. So Bamboo allows you to buy stocks in the US. Chaka allows you to buy stocks in the US and in Nigeria. RiceVest takes your money and invests it on your behalf and gives you a return. I'm invested in the 3 of them, so I don't mind talking about them, right? And they're good. they have backup, they have insurance, guarantees, and all that. So those are three things you want to check. And there are a lot of other options. Traditional banks also have United, for instance, UBA has UBA has United Capital. Most banks have their investments. Stanbic IBTC has as so a lot of them have all those kind of things where you can invest, right?
So is it safe to invest in those kind of
yes, they have. So the thing is, generally they'll tell you the risk, they'll tell you the different risk, and what you invest in depends. So if you, for instance, let me give an example, and that's why I say it depends also on the cash you have. If you have a lot of money and you buy property, you know that property will not depreciate but it's expensive to buy property. So you get my point. In fact, my advice generally is that a property should not be your first investment. It should be investment later on, because it ties up
a lot of money.
Exactly. If you imagine you have 25 million or 30 million, you don't buy property. The truth is that you are stuck, because you can't invest anything else, right? So generally, what I say is, so there's that. But so property is safe. So, and the funny thing is this: the safer, the more stable, the safer the safer the investment is. Usually, the harder it is to liquidate. So, property, for instance, it's fixed. You make a lot of money,
but you can't just sell
overnight. Stocks, on the other hand, you can sell fast, but stocks are volatile. In fact, the truth is, stocks are the easiest way to make money. That's the truth. Stocks are the easiest way to make money, because you can buy a stock. For instance, every day, just between 2 days ago and today, I made almost $200 or $300 on my stocks in Zoom, right? So just between 2-3 days on today, I made almost $300 in my investment in Zoom. So the truth of the matter is that stocks make a lot of money. However, the problem is stocks are volatile. Your stock might be worth $10,000 today. Then COVID will happen, and then all your stocks are worth $10,000. So that's so the thing is, stocks are so if you're going to do stocks, my advice generally is that you are either have time for it, meaning you are checking it regularly, or you give it to a stockbroker to manage it for you. My advice also is that if you're going to do stocks, plan for it to be long-term investment, not something you want to plan to do and collect it by layer and
do short term.
It's something long-term. Then there are other options. There are other options like a real business. So, and I found in my experience that real business are some of my
real business are better.
Yeah, so things like
and that brings me to the next question.
Yeah.
That brings me to the sorry, Tola. Let me just keep in the next question so that you'll explain it in that line.
Go ahead.
Is it, what industry do you think do you envisage would experience a lot of boom post COVID-19? What industry do you think will experience a lot of boom? So I mean, if you want to start another business now, you want to start something new now, I mean, what area do you think, from your negotiations with other countries, from your experience and research generally of this whole situation, what area do you think is better to start a new line of business?
All right, so I'll say a number of things, right? First is, this is not investment advice. I'm just saying my opinions. It's better to say that, right? First things first is technology will boom. That's the truth. I think, if anything, people have realized in these COVID times, people have realized that, listen, technology is the way, because technology has an advantage even when a lot of things shut down. So, of course, technology companies will boom a lot. For instance, by the time Apple releases a new device now, or Microsoft releases, for instance, Microsoft Teams is doing really well. The product Microsoft Teams is doing really well. Zoom is doing really well. Even though now they have some issues with security. Which other one? Skype is doing really well also. Google Meet is also doing pretty well. So the truth of the matter is that there will be a lot of that. So technology companies will boom. Companies that do a lot of work with logistics and distribution would also boom a lot. Right? Companies that work in distribution and logistics will boom a lot. Healthcare companies, so both healthcare providers, insurance companies. So, for instance, I expect that after this, a lot of people can take insurance plans. Healthcare companies, healthcare companies, insurance providers, and also people that are doing research on medical research will boom a lot. Because the truth is, when things like this happen, a lot of people will start making a lot of investments in healthcare. In health, and all that. So the truth is, healthcare is another area that I expect to boom. Another place I expect to boom is tourism and hospitality. And the reason is simple. The reason is that a lot of people have shut down plans. But the thing is, what I expect is, so tourism and healthcare, tourism and hospitality are dipped sharply. I expect that after COVID, they'll take
a different turn.
Yeah, they'll take off slowly, but they'll rise very sharp. Because what's going to happen is that a lot of people have moved weddings, moved ceremonies, moved all those things, and people are going to want to get back to that flex. People are going to take breaks and all that. So that would also happen. So I think that a lot of hospitality will also happen. Another thing I think is going to happen a lot is that I expect that a lot of government companies will rise. So there'll be a lot of companies that are government owned, but would allow private people to have equity in them. So a lot of that, and I expect to see a lot of that all over the world. Where it's a government owned company, but private citizens have like a lot of shares inside of them. So and those are very interesting to also see. I also expect a lot of companies that do a lot of work around I'm looking for the right word now to describe what I want to say. Services will take up a lot. So photography, for instance, will also shoot up, and the reason is because when crises like this happen, right, what happens post it is that people try to get back to normal as fast as possible, and to get back to normal they'll compensate for things that make them happy. So entertainment, photography, all that, all those kind of things will also shoot up, right? And the truth is, also people would realize the value of entertainment. So for instance, now a lot of stars are being created in these COVID times.
That's what I said yesterday on a live video that I was on yesterday. I said a lot of people in the photography industry are thinking now that, oh, when we eventually come back, people will not have money to pay, blah blah blah, because of the recession, this and that. But the truth is, there will be more events and there will be more people. So it will be a crowded space, and that's a good time for you to shoot up your price and even make more money. Yeah.
So honestly, I agree. And I think, and let me just say this also. I think photographers also have to think creatively, right? And Americans already do that. And I think the people, I think a place for photographers to learn a lot is from the music and movie industries. The reason is because music and movies are very similar to photography in that they are both intangibles that you cannot hold with your hand, in a sense. Like people don't hold paper print pictures anymore.
Exactly.
So they are both.
The industry has developed so much.
Exactly. But also the thing also is that they can be pirated easily. So like the music, pictures, and videos, or movies, songs and pictures have a lot of similarities. So I think that it's smart for people in the photography industry to learn what people in those industries have done to build such a massive industry. And I'll give you an example. Some of the biggest deals in photography these days, they call them contingency deals, where someone says, I want to shoot a movie, and the producer says, and I need actors, I need a producer. And the producer says, you know what, fantastic, I believe in your movie, let me read the script, I believe in it. Don't pay me my full money yet, pay me X, but I'll get a share of the proceeds we make in total at the end. And truly, people make a lot of money. Because what happens a lot of times, I'll give an example, for instance, the Rocky the movie. What happened in Rocky the movie was that someone did a movie, and then they wanted to buy the script from Rocky and from Sylvester Stallone, and he said, you know what, instead of buying the movie from me, sponsor the movie, and then we'll share the profits in this way. And they agreed. The movie made, I think, 100 times the budget that was planned for it. So imagine someone that just collected their money and left. Stan Lee, the popular Stan Lee, that's exactly what happened to Stan Lee. So my point is, what I think needs to happen is photographers have to do that kind of deals. So you say something like, you know what, someone says, I want to do a photo event, I need a photographer like this. You say, fantastic, this is my basic cost. I should normally charge you 10 million. I will not charge you 10 million. I'll charge you my basic cost of 2 million. However, I want a share of proceed. This. What that will do is, suddenly you are in the action. And
photographers, I hope you are listening.
You're in the action. Because if you're saying people don't want to pay, then make it contingent. What that means is that if I'm someone who is scared of the risk, I'm more willing to take a risk with you if I say, okay, so I don't have to pay you the full price. I won't have to pay you the basic cost till the project succeeds. If it succeeds, we enjoy it together. If we don't succeed, we don't enjoy it together. What that means, I know you're invested with me, but beyond that is that the profit is higher. And truly, those are the kind of things that, another thing you also have to crack is distribution. One thing that the best guys who made money in photography and in movies and music have done is they've cracked the issue of distribution. How do I crack distribution? How do I ensure that my movies or my song gets to everybody? Right? And so the interesting thing to say is, how do I crack distribution for pictures? Because one thing, for instance, if I'm an events person and you tell me, listen, normally my bill is 10 million. However, if you give me the extra cost of taking care of your distribution, I'll get your pictures to. Yes. Sorry,
hold on. It's about it's almost 5 o'clock. So let me end it and come back. Tola is coming on. Okay, so Tola, now we're back.
Fantastic. All right,
Thank you.
thanks.
Thank you. Sorry for cutting you short. Yeah.
No, bro. So what I was saying
Yeah.
also is that photographers also have to start thinking of value-added services of two things. One is, how do I unbundle my services, and how do I value add to my service? And what I mean by that is simple. So for instance, one thing that happens now is that photographers bundle the entire deal. So you have to take one deal. So basically say things like, okay, I did pictures, I this, I that, I this, my entire bill is 10 million. But do you want to start unbundling? Do you want to start unbundling services? So what I mean by that is, you say something like, listen, okay, what exactly does the customer want? And the reason is because you're dealing with a range of clients, right? What exactly does the customer want? Do you just want the pictures? So can I do a deal with you where it's a deal for just photos? I'm not editing it for you, I'm giving you that way. Do you get? Or if I'm going to do extra editing for you, this is the extra value add I'm giving you, and this is what I'm going to charge you extra. So that way, what it does means that you can vary your prices to meet people across the different spectrums of where they are and what they want. Because what happens now is that a lot of clients get the full services even though they don't want the full services, right? Or another question also is, how do I bundle on more services to my service? So for instance, I'm a corporate client. I tell you, you are Jide Odukoya, you have say 100,000 followers on your Instagram or your Twitter or wherever it is, and you have 20,000, you have 20 newspapers or 50 newspapers. I have my product. You've done product photography for me and event photography. I want you to get visibility. Can I start to give you an extra product and say, you know what? Not only will I take your pictures, I'll get XXX distribution extra for you for these pictures that you want. Because if I took these pictures, it's because I want people to get it. So I'm giving you extra ad and I'm getting more money for it. So truth is, the future is in those kind of creative thinking. Like how do I
How can we distribute? How can we distribute what we do?
Images. Exactly.
You know, and I mean, basically, it's the same. It's the same in the film industry, in the in the music industry.
Exactly. And I think those are some of. And I think.
Recently, I was using Canva, and I discovered that there's a section that has photographs in there. Anything you want. If you want a cup with logo, you can get. If you want a cup with anything, if I type in this speaker in it, I'm going to get an exact picture of this speaker. If I say speaker of someone, a picture of someone holding this speaker, I will get a picture of that. And the truth is, it is very cheap. It's as cheap as $1, $2. And then Canva is making money from that, and then the photographer is also making money from it. You know?
Exactly.
Even for weddings, how can we distribute?
Exactly, because you for instance have done this a lot of times.
So how can we make it a content?
You'll be surprised. People are vain. You'll be surprised what people will pay for. You tell somebody things as basic as, someone says something as basic as, I come and take my weddings. And you tell this person, I can also get your person to get your picture of your weddings to get on Better Nigeria. This is the extra cost for it. You'll be surprised they'll pay. Because people are vain. And so the truth is, some of the biggest lessons for how to do some of these things will come from things as basic as the movie industry, the music industry. For instance, another thing I should talk about is
and making something intangible as tangible.
Exactly.
I opened up Netflix the other day, and I was watching a movie that was done in 1995 or something, a very old movie, you know.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm sure the person that made that movie is still earning money from it as long as people view it. You know?
And another thing that would be interesting is even historical storage. What happens a number of times? Someone like me, for instance, one of the things I hate, and photographers already have some of these things. For instance, and that value had, if a photographer told me, I'll take your pictures and I'll have them stored on online for you at a password for the rest of time. But I'll charge you this. I'll pay, because it annoys me that I take pictures and they're on my phone, and I'm changing new phone. Now I have 20 gig of
loads of pictures.
You know, but if someone tells me, listen, all pictures I've ever taken of you,
so they are people's weddings, make money.
You know, people's weddings, people think so. This and what is important is that you can then build an empire on the back of these things. And what I mean by you can build an empire on the back of these things is simple. Is that, and I think the future, so one of the important features for photography is things like empires. Photographers collaborating together and building new entities that can do fantastic work. So for instance, today, I don't see a lot of Nigerian photographers, companies that have the diversity that you need, where the company has a photographer that is documentary photographer, has a photographer that can do weddings, has a photographer that can do children, has a photographer. What happens is that I'm referring to my different friends. So we'll say, we are for wedding, you are for documentary, you are for politics, you are for. And so, but the future is in companies. So that what happens is that people will no longer say, oh, is this person this person? It will just be an entity, big enough. And the reason that's important is because the brand will then be able to charge more. So, for instance, if Google goes to meet the government of Nigeria to negotiate, or a person goes to meet the government of Nigeria, Google is going to get a better deal because it's a conglomeration of people. Another important thing that will matter is copyright and licensing. Those issues are real, and thanks for saying that, Bambi. I agree entirely. Licensing and copyright will be a big issue. The reason is because, and you'll see it already, there's something called whitelisting that already happens online these days. And it's already happening on Twitter and Instagram, where you post images that are not your own. So, for instance, in the future, it will become even more important to register the pictures that you create. Because you might take a picture that is your own, you don't register it, and someone registers it before you. And then what happens is that you post the picture and you say, I took this picture, and Instagram will take it down. You'll be like, where's that picture? You didn't register it. You didn't register it. And that's one of the reasons why bigger empires are better. Because the thing with empires is that you can then focus on what is your own part. You can say, listen, I'm going to focus on taking pictures. Let the company take
you have the structure to focus on your own part.
Exactly. Exactly. And so those are important things, more generally on how to make money. Yeah. So next question.
Wow. Tola, this is so amazing. I'm blown away. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So there's one final question. I think we answered it already. Okay, I think we answered it already. Okay. I don't know if anyone has any question to share with us. Want to ask any question? You can just put it 1 or 2 questions before we go. We spent over 1 hour already, so.
Waiting for the questions, let me also talk about quite a number of things. First is, I think photographers more specific, and I see a lot of photographers on this call, so I'll just talk about a number of things that I think are very essential. One is, I think, structure your business properly. A lot of photographers, what happens a number of times is that people don't separate their personalities from the business. There's something called the business photography, right? So one of the things you want to do very easily is register a company if you don't, or at least a business name. Get a separate account. The reason is because that way you can even know if your photography is working or it's not working. Whether you are only like borrow, you're just using your personal money to sustain your career and it's not working. So one thing you want to do is separate your personal finance, pay yourself a salary. Register a proper account where all your money goes to. You can start paying yourself a salary. Meaning,
trust me, that is not easy.
It's not.
And so we started paying ourselves salary in my company, and man, Tola, it's not easy, man. Now I know I'm doing business. Like we've been playing. What happens is that you can start to grow. 2 is that you start to have investment as a company to invest in other things. 3 is that you can now grow. And the most important thing is that you can actually use the company for other things, right? So what I mean by you can use the company for other things is things as basic as, okay, I want to travel abroad, but the company is sponsoring you. It's not clear who owns what. 10,000 came in today, the 10,000 went out the next hour. What truth is, if you have a proper structure, it's easy to then do that in that way. Exactly.
Right? And then another thing I want to also say is build a team. Photographers tend to want to work alone, right? Build a team. Come up with 2, 3, 4 friends that you say, these are my people, these are my friends, the guys I want to build together with, right? And I always say have it clear on paper what you're working with. This is what everybody controls in the company. Have it clear, written down, not in the air. Do those kind of things. Another thing you want to do is copyright. You want to register. If you have a trademark design you're using, register your trademark. Trademarks are cheap to register. Register your trademark, register all those things. They're not that expensive. Register your trademark. By law, if you take a picture, you have automatic copyright in it. So all you have to do is prove it. But if you also have the time to, if you take iconic picture and you want to start sending them out, you might also want to put a small extra effort to register that. Another thing I like to say more generally with the business of photography is build your brand, invest in the brand, not yourself. The temptation, because photographers like to be celebrities, that's the truth. The temptation is to want to invest in your own name, so Gio Dukoya instead of GOP Studios. The problem is this: money multiplies with the number of hands that can do it. So what I mean by that is, if I'm Gio Dukoya, and there are 5 weddings in Lagos, I can only go to one wedding and shoot one wedding, and that's all the money I can make. If I build the brand GOP Studios, what it means is that I can, to a great extent, use 7 people, go for the 7 weddings, and then GOP Studios are the 7 weddings in Lagos. And that's why you see with big brands, you hear Universal Studio shot and did this. You hear of
they shoot everything.
You don't know who did what. It's just a company. So invest. So yes, it's great to invest in your personal brand, but you do a lot more investing in
people,
in the brand and in the people, the teams that you have, and also, and I say this also photography. One reason why parents don't support people doing photography, and let me tell you the thing is this: one of the things that careers have over places like photography is 2 things. 1, stability. 2, a track for growth. If you build a company and you can give people those 2 things, you build an empire. 1 is stability. Why do people get government jobs? Because they know they can't fire them. There's stability, meaning I have some stability. Then 2 is a track for growth, meaning okay, when someone joins a company, they know today I'm associate manager 1, tomorrow I'll be associate manager 2, next tomorrow I'll be senior manager, next month I'll be executive director. Let people have a track for growth in your company as you build it. So that means that let someone know I started today as a photography intern. Tomorrow I'll become photography associate 1. Next tomorrow I'll become photography associate 2. Next week
based on the work you do,
the work you do, and
based on
I'll become the head of the brand. Because the truth is, what that does is that to a great extent, what it means to a great extent is that you will then find out that it's a lot easier to keep people, to retain people. So not because they can then find their own visions in your bigger vision, but beyond even finding their visions in your bigger vision, is that those people also have, so they can show their parents something. They can say, listen, I mean, sometimes the basic things you show, things that print an ID card. So find something that's basic. Print an ID card, give people an email address, a website, create a page where their pictures exist. Some of these things are basic, but you're building a brand around it. I'm going to try and touch some questions that I can see. Someone said, I talked about investing for flexing. For future wealth generation, what does one do differently in this situation? So, for instance, now, why I say check why you want to invest is that basically what you want to invest for tells you whether you want to do a short-term investment, a long-term investment, and the kind of returns you're looking for. Now, if you're doing something for flexing, one is a flex. If you're doing something to go and attend your cousin's wedding in Bahamas in like 6 months, it means that whatever you're going to invest in must be able to come out in 5 months. All right. If you say, oh, I'm a young photographer now, I'm investing this for my house or for my kids, to want to pay the university fees for my kids. So it means I have 10 years. I don't have to touch the money 10 years or 15 years. So you can then say, okay, I'm going to invest in long term. And okay, I'm giving advice is start keeping away money gradually. So for instance, there are accounts now where I just send money. I don't ever check what's inside. I just send money and then it automatically gets invested. And so what happens is that then you just know you're building it up and it's growing. You're building up, you're investing, it's growing. You're building up, investing, it's growing. So that's the difference. So it's about the returns, about what is long term, what is short term. Someone said, let me see.
There was a question about
license and copyright in Nigeria. So generally, there are a range of things. One is the easiest, most informal way to just is to just use agreements. That's the easiest way. So the cheapest way is agreement. So what that means is that if I'm taking a photo for a big company, for instance, get an agreement that says who owns what. Who owns am I licensing it to you to use? So the easiest way is use agreements. Draft an agreement for licenses, because if you automatically, so for copyright, for instance, by law in Nigeria and in most countries of the world, you automatically have a copyright for something you create. However, if it's very iconic, you can go on to register it on what they call the WIPO. There's a WIPO register that gives you universal. It might be slightly pricey, but it's a WIPO register. You might not want to do that for every picture you take, because if you take 20 pictures a day, you don't want to register everything. But then if you're going into a strategic business relationship with someone, you might want to then license. Another thing you might want to do is the whole popular issue of watermarking. watermark your images so that way, and they're principled around all these things. Trademark, there's a trademark office. How do you do trademark? There's a trademark office in Nigeria. You can go and register the trademark. So trademark is your logo. So if you have this very iconic logo, you don't want anyone to pass off your logo as their own. So iconic logos.
So what happens? So if people use your logo, what happens?
So first things first, that you have a right against copyright. You have a right against what misrepresentation. So what happens first is that if you have a registered trademark and someone takes it, one of two things happens. One thing first is that you generally talk to your lawyer, but one of two things happens when you talk to your lawyer. It's either the lawyer, if it's a case where the person has not made any profit from it, what I advise you is just write the person and instruct them to stop using your logo, right, or using a similar logo to yours. If it's a case where they start making money from it, by law, you might actually be able to claim for some portions of the profits that they made on it. Yeah. Because the idea is that they acted as though they were you. That's why they made that profit. So you can ask for some of that.
Okay.
Yeah, so Diana said something very interesting. Diana has been ages. I haven't seen you since London. Diana said, sometimes it's the person that sells the brand. So I agree with you entirely. Usually what happens is that the person grows first. But the truth is, while you're growing, you want to consciously invest in that brand. So what I mean, and I'll use GD as an example. The brand GD Odukoya grew faster. But the truth is, as people are knowing GD Odukoya, you want to say, oh, it's not. And what I mean is, associate yourself with that your brand you're building at the same time. So don't say, oh, I'm the best photographer. Say, I'm the best photographer building the best photography company in the country. That way, or we're a group of 20. That way, you are using your own clout you're building to spread to the others on your team. That's what I mean. So I'm not saying don't have a personal brand, but what I'm saying generally is that use that personal brand to invest in the
other business.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Tokwe said Rihanna's Fenty Beauty and the rest. Exactly.
Because the problem a lot of photographers have is, and personally we've had that in my company as well. So we changed from GD Odukoya photography to JOP Studios just because we want to take that me factor, the GD Odukoya factor, out of the whole picture. Because if you can do 5 weddings in a day, why do you want to do one? Do you understand? Because when you put your name, people want to see you as the person shooting. When they can see other photographers who is as good as well.
Exactly.
Yeah, so the more you start pulling yourself out of the brand and still making that and still growing that brand in such a way that you can spread to other places. You can even have a Ghana branch. You can have a Kenya branch.
Exactly. And the truth of the matter is that it's always the initial step. If you take a risk, if you build your team and allow people to take a risk on it, and people take a risk on it, and it's fine. Very quickly, they won't even notice you're not the one anymore. So if someone says, I want you, and you're like, listen, this is the person that will come. If it's not good, I promise you I'll refund your money or whatever, and you take a risk. And people try the person, and it's fantastic. It's like you. They're like, hey, why am I not deserve myself? Jide is just stressing me. Please let this guy come. That's what usually happens. Someone has a question here. Someone says, I'm a photographer based in the North. How do I promote culture with photography for an international market? So I think first things first is always to do your research. So I think 3-4 things. First is do the research. Do the research of what does international market, what are they looking for? The funny thing is international markets that they are very weird. You might find out that what they like is calabash. They just like you putting calabash in the river. They like, I'm serious. You might find out that these guys, there's a market for people. There's a market for cultural dance or cultural festivals. So find out what it seems like the international market wants. That's one. 2 is understudy who has tried. So I always have this rule of whenever I'm trying to try something new, draw up a list of 10 people that have tried that thing and succeeded, and what did they do? So basically, draw up a list of 10 of people, and it doesn't have to be Africans. It can be other cultures that have gone international with their photography pictures that are cultural. How did they do it? What kind of images did they take? Is it sharp pictures, black and white? Is it? What you find out is that most of them have a distinctive touch about it. Some might have black and white, some might be grainy, so whatever it is, there's a very distinctive touch about it. Once you find that distinctive, so you might also want to do that to your own. The third thing I would say is that enter strategic relationships. It's always easier to break into the market using strategic relationships. So, for instance, when you go to all these conferences that people go to, can you make relationship with other photographers that are going to those other countries and come and say, listen, I'm also trying to grow my pictures, the kind of pictures I take. Are you happy to invite me to festivals? Can I send a picture for you to display in your festival? Build that kind of thing. Look at things like magazines. Look at people that allow you to expand your footprint without you moving from where you are. So magazines, can you send submissions into magazines? Can you self-publish yourself? You know, can you self-publish yourself? Can you jump on? Can you also jump on very iconic issues? So, for instance, there's a riot in your city. You know, one of those very iconic events, or there's a crazy festival. A Google festival happened recently. Take a very iconic picture of it and then send it to somebody that want to use it. So it's basically it takes work, but that's usually what I advise. But if you study what other people have done, generally come up with what people need to do. Someone says, I want more about business strategies in photography. Well, that's going to be hard because I'll need context to come up. I'll need context to come up with it. But generally, we can talk at some point. But I'll need context to come up with strategies.
Okay. What we did for my business was we hired an HR would put things in place for us. Like, you know, she dissected the whole business and put everyone in different, and then she also gave them job roles. So people can be effective generally. If you look at the totality of what we do, everyone is effective and she monitors them. So I mean, you may have to spend some money, go to business school, get a financial person and then an HR. I mean,
and if you're small, you can start with.
You can't do it all alone.
Yeah, you can start. If you're small, you can start with just Google, right? Do a Google search, read about businesses. Because the thing is, in the end, business is business. All businesses have basic common elements: profit, loss, salaries, expense. You can study those things. And one thing you want to learn quickly in business is keeping records. Records will save your life. Your taxes, keeping records. Keep records. I got 20,000 because write it down. Keep your records. Someone said some businesses are quoted in Nigeria for abusing trademark as lawsuit compelled them to pay trademark. Okay, I agree with you on that. Yeah, businesses are quoted because of trademark suits. I agree. Someone said I usually reflect.
We try to reach big photographers, but no reply. See, photographers will not help you. If you're a photographer, reach out to a financial person to sort your business. So
I think the person is talking of something. The person is talking about trying to grow your reach. The person is talking about is responding to that issue of growing your reach.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm a photographer in the north. I'm trying to grow my reach globally. He says I've been reaching out to big photographers. They're not listening to me. But Jide probably can advise you better on that. But what I think also is that it's about value propositions, right? I feel like if I were a photographer and I was going to reach out to another photographer, right? What I'll do first is I'll take a lot of pictures, iconic pictures, that as much as I can use. I get iconic pictures where I am, right? Probably try and put it on a website or a blog or whatever it is. Then I'll send one or two of that to the photographer. Say, these are pictures I've taken. I'm looking for blah 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 blah. I'd like to help you and also offer value. I find that if you offer value, so what you have to ask yourself is one simple question: this photographer, and that might involve doing some research. This photographer, this is what he does. Why should you want to help me? Like, why? You have to offer value. So you might say something as simple as, if you find out, for instance, it's a photographer that does a lot of work in Nigeria, right? You might say, I'm happy to help you do editing for all your pictures that you do in Nigeria. I'm good at editing this. So you're building a relationship. Or you might say something as basic as, I took these pictures. You also took these pictures in this thing. Do you want me to submit it for you in this event that's happening in my country? The truth is, you want to offer value so that way
to get value as well.
Exactly.
If you offer value, then you can, the person can open up and you can have some relationship. Yeah,
exactly. That's Jide, they asked me if they're using reflector for this video, and if they're shooting
I'm not using reflector.
They say you're shooting a red dragon.
No, there's no reflector here. This is just my table, but I have a very bright light, like a very big bulb up. This Fantastic. Is my bulb up. It is really, really big. So
it's not you guys. Tell I know. It says, Tola, what do you have for documentary photographers? And I think I said this when I was talking about the future of photography at the beginning. I think that in the future of photography, documentary photographers are going to be some of the guys who make the biggest bucks, right? The reason is simple. I feel like because photography will become so democratized, it will now become an issue of so if an event happens, all of us are going to whip out our phones and take pictures. And the truth is, these days the apps that even teach you preset editing, preset photography angles, preset this. So all this, people are getting better at taking good pictures.
Snapchat editing is fantastic. It's second to none. The picture is really good from the camera. Like, What else do you want?
So truly, so what's gonna happen now? You will become so one of the things photographers will really be able to do is that it becomes your full job to go and seek the story. Then your niche will now be how you can tell that story, So I think, for instance, for documentary photography, I'll say that right now, documentary photographers are probably having it the hardest because it's not the easiest to break even right now. Like I can do a wedding every weekend and make money, but documentary photographer, there's no that every weekend. So you might probably do a lot of work in silence for the beginning of your career. But if you're a documentary photographer, my advice generally is build a name, try and build a name, and one of the easiest ways to do that is to link yourself with a journalist or a journalism organization. So for instance,
network of journalists.
You can start freelance
and then be consistent.
Exactly, you might start freelance, but then join most of them. If for instance, if 4 or 5 major stories come out, and you're the guy who did the pictures for 4 or 5 stories, people are going to start asking, who is this Tola guy? Who is the one who takes all the pictures? It's just going to start happening.
Tola, this is so amazing. This is so amazing. So we will stop by 5:30.
Yeah, so we have 4 minutes.
5:30, but so we have like about 3 minutes.
I'm just trying to scroll to ensure I'm not missing any major message.
Yeah. Tola,
thank you. I agree with you, Veracruz.
You've blown me away, man. Now, I'm not gonna sleep this night.
Better sleep.
I'm not gonna sleep this night. No. I need to open Google.
Veracruz talks about analytics. I think that's also important. And I'll say one important part of analytics. One thing you want to do as a photographer, and this is where analytics will help a lot. If you do editing, and I found out that generally, if you do editing, so if you do 4, 5, 6 different edits of a picture or of different pictures, and one of them constantly gets more engagement, and that's where analytics helps you. You can then realize that maybe people have a preference for my outdoor that has a lot of hue. Maybe people like when I put a lot of black in my portrait pictures, and then you can become consistent at it, because truly in the end is that photography is about preserving aesthetics. So if people don't appreciate your aesthetics, the truth of the matter is that then it doesn't matter. So, and that's one good thing about analytics too, and that's one of the good things about technology now, is that you can track what people are responding to. So
exactly.
If you post a kind of picture, for instance, you might find out that because the truth is what we like is not what people like. You might like taking food picture, but people like your plate picture, the picture where you take off your plates. They don't want the food, they just want your plates. Yeah, the truth is, the analytics will tell you quickly that, listen, they don't care about my food though, it's the plates they want, and you then focus on plates.
So Tola, people have been asking you, what do you do? Who are you? Are you a photographer? Can you just explain what you do?
Okay, so I'm an international lawyer. I lead trade and investment negotiations for a number of countries. Currently, I'm the assistant chief negotiator for the Nigerian government. So I do all the trade and investment deals for the country. So if you heard of the African Continental Free Trade Agreement, I'm involved in that negotiations for the African Continental Free Trade Agreement. I'm also at the mandate of the president setting up something called the Trade Remedies Mechanism for the country. I'm also doing investing. I'm part of an investing syndicate. I'm part of a group that does a fund that invests in innovators across Africa. And then I do a lot of work advising businesses, startups, scale-ups, tech businesses on growing, raising capital, investment, structuring business, copyrights, transactions, and all that. So that's the range of that I do.
Tola, I don't my heart for you.
No, they gas me up.
No. This is so beautiful, Tola. As in, I mean, I would save this video so for people who wants to, listen to it afterwards. Thank you so much. Thanks so
for having
me. I can't thank you enough.
Keep doing the selfless work that you do.
No, I can't thank you.
In the band of that video, keep being the bad boy that you are.
No, we had a nice time. I
had a great time.
Yeah, I didn't know it's going to be this really deep and insightful. This was really insightful, and I think it opened a part of my brain now to newer things and to think somehow, and I'm sure a lot of other photographers who are here, feel the same way. Thank you so much for your time. We love you, and Yeah.
Thanks a
So
lot.
so you
And I'll
guys, you
just
can
say,
follow Tola. Tola also has this video series he does about
yeah,
financial. I
finance,
mean,
investment, business, yeah,
yeah,
concepts
yeah,
in both.
fine. Yeah, so he does like short videos on what to do, investing your money, finances, money, money changes and all those kind of. So you can follow him at Detola OV.
Yeah,
At
Twitter and
Detola
Instagram, it's the
OV.
same thing. Medium, every platform.
Yeah.
I only have
It's
one
the same
ID.
same thing on Instagram and Twitter. But I
Yeah.
think he's more active on Twitter.
No, I think I'm active on both. Oh. I think I'm active on both. But the
Oh,
thing is,
okay, okay.
but I think
And Tola is
it's
also
the
a
two.
traveler. Tola is also a traveler. He has traveled to over 70 countries, and I'm like,
Yeah.
wow.
73 now. 73 now.
73. Wow.
Yeah.
How do you do it? I've not even gotten to half of that. The last time
Yeah.
we traveled last year, I tried to do, but there are places I've been to before. So we did. So I went to Turkey. So we went to
Yeah, Turkey is
London and then
fantastic. It's
Turkey
Turkey,
and
especially
then
if you go to all the temples and all the old buildings.
yeah,
It's
yeah. We
very
visited
beautiful.
some
Yeah.
some part of those. Thank you
Yeah,
so
yeah.
much, Tola. I really
And
thank
I
you
think the
for your
last thing to
time.
say, I'll just wrap up with saying this, that
Okay.
when people look to people like yourself and they realize how successful you are and how you built a brand and how you're building a business, people don't realize also that the industry keeps changing, right? So a friend of
Yeah.
mine joined the call recently, Bedge. I think right now Bedge Picture is one of the biggest, trendiest photographers, in the country. And things keep changing. And truth is, I tell people that before there was tech companies, people were making money. There was oil companies, there were all that. But truth is, now that these companies have come, no money is
Yeah.
just being made. So truth is, there's enough space for everyone to make a lot of money. The most important thing is one, being diligent about the thing that you do, being creative about it, learning, building relationships, but most importantly, deciding what you want to do, and just going for it. Just going for the thing you want to do and becoming the best at it. Don't. I think too many people want to succeed by all means. What should matter to you more than even succeeding by all means is actually succeeding properly. Like growing something that is fantastic. Something that has process. And all that. Yeah. And yeah, please reach out anytime if you need any support. I'm happy to help. Yeah.
Yeah. Tola, thank you so much.
Thanks for
Yeah,
having me,
I really
Jimmy.
appreciate it. Yeah.
Let's banter
So
one of these days. We
yes,
should,
so
your next trip. Come on. Let's go somewhere. Let's do
don't worry,
boys trip.
we'll figure it out. Like
No
we've been
problem.
home, for too long. We need to go out.
See. Understandable.
All right, now take
All
care,
right
bro.
then. Thanks a lot.
Yeah. All
Bye.
right now. Hello, guys. So thank you so much for tuning in. I hope we all learned something. Personally, I'm blown away. I learned a lot, and I mean it's been amazing. It's been amazing. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you so much for coming. So we hope to do this regularly. We hope to do this all the time. Next week, Friday, we're going to be having one of our very good friends. That's Art by Oye. I don't know how many of you know him. Art by Oye is a very fantastic guy. He's been documenting the COVID-19 from area photography. So he would be joining us next week, and we hope to learn a lot from him. How he got into the space, how seemingly what he's doing is actually booming now. And how different he has been. I mean, he started off as a wedding photographer, but then he has moved into area photography, and he's really really doing well. So thank you guys. See you next week. All right, bye.